All right. So, welcome to the call. This is our first time doing a call like this. And my thought is if everyone just stays muted, if you have a question, feel free to do the little hand raise emoji. And this is going to be interactive, but if everybody's unmuted, then it might be a little bit hectic. So I'll just go through what we did. I bought this 33 plex with Christian, no capital partners. We got paid a couple $100,000 to buy it. And when it's all said and done, it's going to cash flow about 100 grand a year. And the reason I felt it would be important to share this on a call like this, I feel like most people here are probably not in multifamily strategy. This is something that could directly change anybody's life on this call. And so with that, I'm going to hit share. Now, for those who don't know, I like Moses Lake. And it's not because Moses Lake is better than any other market. It's because I own a monopoly over there. And when you own a monopoly, you enjoy things more. But for context, Moses Lake, for people that are not familiar with Washington, almost everybody that hears of Washington, even if people don't live in Seattle, they always say they're from Seattle because that's the one everybody knows. I was born and raised in a little place called Tacoma. The reason this matters for everyone here is because Tacoma has exactly 0% of anything to do with Moses Lake.
Different and the modifier object
You
different.
do not have to buy in your home market. This is about 3 hours away from where I was born and raised. I didn't know anybody in the area, contractors, tenants, property manager. I didn't know anything about anything in that market. So, all that to be said, it doesn't matter where you pick. You have to buy based off of good fundamentals. Now, I started building my monopoly over here, 112 plex at a time. Then I bought some sixes, I bought some duplexes, I bought a 10, I bought a 38. The rest is history. But we had an opportunity pop up. And there are deals like this in every city in America, I promise you. It doesn't matter if it's 2,000 people in the town or 200,000 or bigger. There's places that are much bigger than that. You can do this anywhere you want. So I found this little opportunity here. Google Maps, talk about the big roofs. This is a big roof and it's a bad one at that. Need to be completely replaced. So I did my little Google Street View, took this little guy, threw him on the road, and looked at it and realized, well, shoot, this is not an apartment building. This is an old motel. And from that point on, I looked into a little bit. I actually drove it and counted the doors. And there was 33 units. It had laundry on site, it had a couple storage units that I originally thought were more units. I thought it was bigger than it was. But realized it was 33 doors. And it was smack dab in the center of Moses Lake. So what I like to do whenever I'm finding an opportunity, before we focus on the money, the really big thing that's allowed me to scale without any of my own personal money, because I bought everything, all 201 units that I own, about to be 216 units. Every single unit that I own, I bought with less than 3 grand out of pocket because that's all I had to start with. It's always come down to what is the opportunity in front of me. The order of operations is deal, then debt, then equity. Now, the deal here was 33 units on Broadway. Now, Broadway in Seattle and Broadway in Moses Lake are completely different. But Broadway is still the main drag into town. It's not that big of a town, but this is the main road. You have to go through it. So I just do a quick little drive by. This is 3 hours away from where I live. And right now, this is 2,000 miles from where I am. So I can't just drive it every day. But I drove down the streets with Google Maps. And I look around and I try and figure out what there is. You've got strip malls. I ended up seeing this place. This was an old converted motel on the same road called Studio City. They're all studios, and these are way smaller than the Imperials, the 33 plex that we bought. But I just started driving the streets to see if I could see anything similar to what I was trying to do. Had anybody ever converted a motel before? And it doesn't matter whether you're doing a motel conversion. It doesn't matter if you're doing a standard apartment. We've done multiples of both. But you just want to figure, is there going to be a demand for it? Next thing I looked up was, are there any studios for rent in Moses Lake? And at the time, there was maybe one listing, and it was $800. Now, $800 for a studio in Central Washington would have been unheard of a few years ago. You'd be lucky to get that for a one bed. But this is where the opportunities come in. Real estate is what we call an imperfect market. You've got perfect markets where everybody has access to the same amount of data. And you've got imperfect markets where somebody in the transaction will have a competitive advantage because they have the ability to know more than the other parties in the deal. And that gives them an edge to make money in real estate. That's how the best operators make money in real estate. And a saying that I've come to find true is that insiders don't control the real estate market, and outsiders do. People that don't have the old beliefs, so the people that are there. And so if you're coming in from an outside of a market, you have what's called a competitive advantage. You don't have the stigmas, the bias, and you can just look at matters of fact. If the cheapest studio is for rent for 800, they're thinking, oh, I could probably get 550, $600. It gives you a competitive advantage to just look at the facts and say, it doesn't matter what the history of this place is. If I clean it up, I can make a premium above anybody else in this market. So, what did we do to buy this? You do your background research on the location, you figure out if it's feasible, if people have done this type of thing, whether it's apartments, whether it's hotels, whether it's conversions, single family Airbnb. You do your due diligence on the market, like what we did. Just make sure there's demand. The next most important thing, this will make or break your deal, is the debt. These people had a mortgage on their property. There are some creative finance strategies online that will show you how to get people to finance the purchase for you, or where you take over the financing and it stays in their name. There's ways to do that. Most of it's a bunch of BS. And more often than not, the best deal you're going to find is not going to be traditionally seller financeable. The difference is, are you going to be the person that figures out how to put it together? Because deal makers are the people that make money in real estate. Person who can look objectively at a piece of property, find the highest and best use for it, and close the deal, and then execute on the program. Every property's got a program. It's called the Property Improvement Plan, a PIP. It's most standard with hotels for that terminology, but you can build it out for any type of property. And so once you do all that research, you figure out what property needs. You have to figure out the debt. This deal was not seller financeable in the traditional sense, unless I put a ton of money down. I would have had to put about 800 grand for them to seller finance this. And the purchase price was 1,600,000. There's a rule in business: just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's really a rule in life. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. We could have seller financed this, probably got an okay rate, but we'd have to come up with 800 grand. And we didn't have 800 grand. We had a couple 100,000 to our name. So the thought process was, well, we could get a good rate, but is rate really the thing that matters? Is it always the thing that matters? Or could there be a more optimal debt product? So then we go down the route, well, we don't want to put 800 grand down. So what's going to be a high leverage project type of loan? Probably hard money. And so we pitched it to every hard money lender that we knew. Some of them didn't get back to us. Others, one of my favorite lenders who actually ended up funding the deal, said, well, I hate Moses Lake. I hate this type of property. But because it's you, I'd give you $1,000,000. Okay, so now we're making progress. Instead of having to put 800 grand down, we have to put 600,000. I was like, well, screw that. I don't have 600 grand, and I don't really want to do 600 grand. So I did some soul searching on YouTube. YouTube University is a great place to figure out where you're going when you get lost. And I stumbled upon a Robert Kiyosaki video, who I've met him a couple times in person. He is nice when you get to know him, comes off very rough. And his video, I hadn't watched many of his videos since I'd met him a couple times back in 2022. His video said most people, when they're trying to get money, are liabilities, and they don't really position themselves as an asset to the lender. And I paused it. I didn't listen to the rest of his point, and I tried to figure out, what does that mean? And then I watched the rest of the video. And what the video went on to share, and what he ultimately was sharing, was that most people ask for money, yet they don't position themselves as an asset to that lender. And I probably went way too deep down the rabbit hole trying to overanalyze what he was saying. But what I came to the conclusion of was, I was going to buy this deal, and my hard money lender was going to give me $1,000,000, and they were going to earn, they were charging 3 points on the purchase. They were going to earn 30,000. So I took the conversation back to them with Christian, and ultimately what I shared with them was you're going to make 3 points on this, and I will go find the other 600,000 plus renovations, but I'm going to be buying it either way. If you gave me more money, you would earn more fees. You're either going to collect $30,000 or you're going to collect 48,000. 3 points on 1,600,000. I was trying to get them to finance 100% of the purchase. And the conclusion they came to is, well, if he's going to do it either way, it's in our best interest to give him more money because we believe in the pro forma, we believe in the need in that market. And if we can make more money by placing money we already have, why wouldn't we? So it was the mind shift of got an asset, believe in it, but we have the standard. We can only lend this much money on a deal, LTV. When you come in with the mindset of, well, yes, I will bring the extra money down. I believe in the deal. I'm going to do it. If you want to make your fee on $1 million, you can. But if we're going to do it either way, give me the full 1,600,000. Now, to bridge that gap, they'd be funding the whole purchase. What I mentioned to everybody here is we got paid 6 figures to buy this. So what they came up with, and I never even thought to ask for this, I'm going to next time. They were more comfortable if we had the money to finish the renovations. So they actually gave us the fund max. Their maximum fund amount that they can place in any given loan is $1.8 million. They gave us 1,800,000 less the fees. We walked away with about 150,000 and change at closing to start renovating this asset. And it was because of one video I found on a YouTube channel. And the basis for everything that you do in business, you just have to position yourself as an asset. And that's the hardest thing to do, I've found, for folks who are getting started. They have the least amount of money, the least amount of credibility, experience. They don't have a track record. And if you have a track record, it's not super long. And that's difficult. Regardless of that, we have never completed a hotel motel conversion ever. So our track record on this business was zero. And we convinced a local lender to not only fund 100% of the purchase, but to fund a good portion of the renovations to get started. It's actually enough money to renovate it to refinance it, new roof, new electrical, and renovating some interiors. We got 100% of the financing we needed to do this project, flip it into a cash flowing debt product where we'll make about 100 grand a year cash flow. And the only reason we got that, and by the way, the lender hated Moses Lake, they hated this type of asset, is because we figured out the way to propose, look, we're going to do this anyways. You see the upside, you see the security on the deal, and you want to give up $18,000 of fees, you have the money sitting in your account, you can wire it right now. And they're really happy they did it, by the way. It was just shifting the mindset of I'm not a liability walking around trying to get money. We only had one person willing to fund this deal. And most people say, well, that sounds like you're a liability. We are an asset to the one person because we were able to convey it the right way. We failed multiple times with other lenders to convey that we are an asset for this, for them, that we can make them the max amount of fees safely, securely, with a longevity of business with them. We'll keep doing business with them. And because of that, they overfunded a deal and we didn't have to take on a single capital partner. That's the best thing. We don't have anybody to answer to. It's just us. It's 50-50. And anybody on this call, as long as you're over 18, if you're under 18, can't help you yet, gotta wait. But as long as you're over 18, you can do this. You find a deal, then you figure out the debt. And if you can't get 100% debt like this, then you figure out the equity for the down payment. But today's topic was how we got paid, how we got tax-free money at the closing table to finish the project. This is the simplicity of the business. You find a property that is more credible than you are. You find a lender who places loans on these types of assets, whether it's this, whether it's an apartment building. There's an apartment building literally right over there. It could be that deal for you. That traded 6 years ago for $1.9 million. It's probably worth $4 million today. But no matter what your asset is, you just have to then go find the debt product that makes your deal work. And if you can't get 100% finance, whether it's through seller financing, hard money, conventional, you figure out the money down. And it is the same exact pitch. You have to position yourself as an asset for whoever has the money. And if anybody's ever raising money, the surefire way to get a yes, you have to identify a couple things. Where's the money going? What's the stability of what's backing it? And how are they getting paid? And if you can map out those three things, you will get a yes more often than anybody else that's pitching. You don't need to show pro forma. You don't have to show a huge track record, because if you can accurately identify those three things, where the money's going, what's the stability of what's backing it, and how the person's going to get paid back, those are the three check boxes people really care about. And it is the same thing for an individual as it is for an institutional company. The people who funded this, smaller mom and pop hard money company, but they could still lend $20 million. And so if you needed to figure out some deals, they could figure it out. But they're looking at the same three things. Where's the money going? Well, it's going into this project. Is it stable? Well, not exactly, but that's why I'm looking for more money from you, because the more money I have in my pocket, the quicker I can get it stabilized. And the sooner it's stabilized, the sooner I can refinance it or liquidate it and pay you back. That is the way you play the game. And in this game, every time that you do a deal like this, whether it's a duplex, whether it's a 33 unit, the size isn't what matters. Every time you say you're going to do something and then you put it together, the strength of your signature gets stronger, and it makes it easier and easier to pitch for deals like this or bigger. This is not our biggest deal, not even close, but we've done enough deals now because we figured this formula out where it gets significantly easier to get these deals done because our signature is worth more to people. We say we're going to do something and we do it. They're like, wow, these people really know what they're going to do. So whether you're looking at a duplex, hotel, if you say you're going to do it, just follow these steps so that you can actually see it to the finish line. And then don't lie to yourself. Numbers don't lie, but people do. And if there's one person you can't lie to, it's yourself. So make sure you're doing good deals, because when you figure out how to buy anything, you can buy anything. It comes back to the thing I mentioned earlier. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So do good deals and keep doing good deals and pitch people honestly with the math, because I could have also lied to the lender and gotten this deal done. But at the end of the day, who here wants to get stuck with a $20,000 a month mortgage on an asset that wouldn't pay for it? Nobody. Free real estate is not the goal. Free real estate that pays you for life, that you can buy and hold forever, should be the goal.